these topics that we covered recently also linked into remote working. And given the current situation with COVID-19 and the whole country on the lockdown, I think it would be prudent really to share some of our expertise and tips to listeners and viewers around remote working and what that is, what they need to look out for in terms of their well-being, security, privacy, and working from home for the companies, or even if they're self-employed. So what really is remote working, Cheila, from your perspective? What do you think that is for the normal user out there?
Hi, Clinton. Well, firstly, thanks for putting this all together. I think it's a great idea. We do have these conversations quite regularly, and I guess it's not just us that would benefit from hearing these. A lot of other people will. But to answer your question, what is remote working? To me, remote working isn't just the ability to work from home. It's the actual ability to conduct your normal working day, your duties, be able to carry it out anywhere away from your office, anywhere from a normal working environment. And when I say normal, what do I mean by that? Not having an office, not having a desk, being able to carry out your normal tasks, your day-to-day tasks at home, in Costa, wherever it might be, in a library. That to me is remote working, literally being able to access your working environment from anywhere.
Anywhere, sure. And with that comes with some flexibility and some advantages and disadvantages or benefits, so to speak. So what's your perspective on some of the benefits? Because some of the places that you mentioned could be classed as unsecure location, and the flexibility is also there. What are some of the benefits that you can think of?
Oh, there's so many benefits. I absolutely love working from home when I have the opportunity to do so. I get a lot of work done. The most important thing to me, I guess, is the commute, not having to spend that extra hour in the morning getting ready and leaving for work and being on the train and not feeling like I'm being as productive making my way to work. Whereas when I work from home, it's a case of getting up, quick shower, and I'm on my laptop and I'm good to go. So for me, probably the little commute. And not only that, it's good for the environment. We're reducing CO2 emissions. And I guess there's quite a few. Is there any other ones you can think of?
Yes, as well as reducing CO2 emissions, the other aspect is saving and wear and tear of the vehicle. You could also save an insurance based on the mileage that you do per year, etc. And from a corporate perspective, the company can also slowly or gradually shrink their office space and reduce the amount of overheads and pay and services that they actually take to manage that office environment as well. So if this were to become a norm for most people, and I think it will in the long run for some companies, they'll pretty much appreciate that they could save on both sides, where they benefit from reducing the cost from their estate, and the employee could also reduce costs as well. So surely there's some other disadvantages as well, right?
Oh yes, the disadvantages, I guess, lack of social interaction, physical interaction, being able to look people dead in the eye and see what they're really thinking. Language. That for me, it's important. I guess one of the reasons I prefer to be in the office as opposed to outside of working from home would be the team bonding, actually building real relationships with people. Not that you can't do that over the phone. I think it's still possible. I just think that human interaction for me is it's really important.
Yes, and that's critical really, because people value different types of interaction depending on the personality that they exhume, or the type of personality they've got really, because some people are better off away and sitting behind a laptop or a computer and emailing people. Some people are great over the phone, and others are pretty much balanced, so they can manage both paradigms, and some love the facial interaction. I think one of the disadvantages as well, leading straight off the back of that, is the social isolation. I'm not having people around or hearing the noise and the office buzz going off in the background whilst they're at work. So isolation is another thing which could also lead to mental health illnesses and physical well-being as well.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And, the physical and mental well-being, I think it's really important for people to take into consideration, especially at a time like this. I know there's loads of sort of sites out there and blogs and things saying this is what you should do to look after your mental health. But it is the basic things, just trying to stay in communication with people, going out for a walk, stepping away from your laptop, even if it's just for 10 minutes, and just reminding yourself that, don't get too consumed in just working, look after yourself. But I guess what people are thinking right now, Clinton, is what does this have to do with InfoSec? So what does this have to do with InfoSec? How can we help people to remain secure at a time like this?
I think there are various things that they can do or be aware of. And if you're working from home, you need to be mindful of your surroundings. So it depends on where you live. It could be surroundings within the household environment, whereby, as you probably can think of, where a laptop or a computer is being shared, or there are children around in the house and they're probably running around and accidentally touch the keyboard and they enable the camera, or they click on something and it goes onto a site that's not so trustworthy, etc. So environment and your social and your surrounding is quite key. Another thing that I want to touch on as well is make sure that the company provide a secure means of connecting into the office. And if there's not a secure means and you're using just the internet as a conduit, then you need to make sure that, one, your Wi-Fi is secure. So that could be that you reset the factory settings and a password that comes on that. And make sure that you're using a secure channel, whether that be two-factor authentication, etc., to get back into the office systems to continue to do your work as normal. I'm sure you have some others that you can also highlight as well.
I do. I think you mentioned some really key ones there. But for me, I guess at this time, people are at home, not alone. They're at home with their children. They're at home with their partners, potentially other family members that they're having to look after at a time like this. So it's being mindful, again, not only of your surroundings, but who has access to your laptop. Is it that you're using a personal laptop for work and work's providing you with the environment to log into and access it? Who's actually, are you leaving your laptop unlocked? Are people able to view information that they potentially may not be able to view, like financial organizations, not just financial services, even, within every organization you're going to have.
Medical fields as well, with highly secure data. So whether that be genetics or pharmaceuticals, those are some seriously secure environment or industry where data is key. And it doesn't matter if this person is a family member or not. You could even work for MI5 or the government, So it spans a broad spectrum.
Absolutely. And not only, I guess, what you're showing on your laptop, it's also the conversations you're having. I think a lot of us, we have conversations not realizing what we're saying is extremely sensitive in some cases. So it's about you have to be mindful about who's listening, who's actually in the room, who's not in the room, are your windows open, who's outside.
Sure.
So, just being mindful of those things. I guess just the basics, making sure your antivirus is up to date, you're using the right browsers, you're not clicking on the wrong links. I guess at this time, what a lot of people may not be aware is spoofing. There's so much spoofing going on, and people not realizing that, oh, actually, I just got an email from the NHS. Is it really the NHS? Is it the right link? Why not go outside of that email or that link that you received and go to the NHS direct? Just being mindful of that. And at the end of the day, hackers don't sleep.
They never sleep, and they have automated bots that actually do some of the hard work for them as well. So depending on the time that you probably get that phishing email, you're probably thinking, oh, it must be important, and it's really not that important. And I think the last time we talked, you touched on something around user education, two-factor authentication as well from a security perspective. Can you elaborate on 2-3 of those areas to move on to the next section?
Yes. So user education. So I think for a time like this is more so less about the user and more about the organization. What do organizations have in place in order for user education to take place? Are you sending out videos? Are you sending out reminders, letting people know actually you are at home and we're trusting you to be at home? But as part of that trust, you do need to be aware of, not just the spoofing, but, things like two-factor authentication. Why is it in place? A lot of people, they have security in place and they don't even realize why. And that's where they find us extremely annoying, because they're thinking, here we go, another information security, another cybersecurity step, something else I have to do to add to my day job. And it's like, there are reasons behind it. We don't do this for fun. There are reasons behind why organizations are taking care to do these things.
Sure.
Say something.
Cool. So we're running out of time at the moment, and we need to get back to our day jobs at some point. So what are some of the top tips that you can really put out there for our listeners and people who are watching, just in a nutshell, how they can secure themselves and just continue to be vigilant in their day-to-day work?
My top tips, do you know what? I'm going to go with mental health as the first one. And obviously I work in cybersecurity, so people are probably not expecting me to say that. But I genuinely feel like your mental health at this point is very important. Looking after yourself, taking those walks, taking those breaks, getting your mind away from work, meditate, listen to music, just take those breaks in order to keep yourself sane, or else you will drive yourself mad and
That's true.
you'll end up seeing squares for the rest of your life. So
that's true. And mental health is a very key one, really. And mental health as a topic has been a really big thing for the past 3-4 years, and the momentum in that area is building. And the fact that most people who are working at home now, and this is very strange, even couples, or families, they get up in the morning and they kind of drop their children off at school. The husband's gone in the opposite direction, the wife's going in the opposite direction, and then they've never really spent a lot of time together 24/7s. And being in that smaller space with everything happening in that small space, it can cause a lot of other family issues as well, and of course leads to mental health. So the other top tip from me really is to make sure that you got the right tools for the job. There are a lot of tools out there, and we're not by any means promoting any of these, but there are some free tools out there and other paid for tools such as Skype, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, and Join Me, which the organization can provide. But if users decide to go and download a free tool online, they just need to make sure that the source that they're getting it from is secure, and make sure that they know where their data is being stored and how that's being managed from a privacy perspective. Absolutely. Anything else?
No, you've hit the nail on the head there. Tooling is very important. But just to move on, I guess the privacy, I know we mentioned already about, who's listening, who's watching, but just remember to try, if you can get a space to have those conversations or work on that sensitive information that you have going on. And perhaps don't leave the kids with the laptop on. And I know lots of kids are at the moment working at home or trying to do lessons and things from home, and there might not be enough laptops in the house where you may need to share that laptop. However, if you do, lock what you need to lock, store what you need to store, and open up a new either user account or just make sure you have a separate zone for your child or partner or whoever it is that is using your laptop. Sure. And I guess you can give the last and best top tip for us, Clinton.
I don't know if it's the last and best. I think this one is dual. It's both for the parents as well as the children, because children are now having to work from home, and they've got this VLE, virtual learning environment from some schools, and they probably they're not used to doing that from home. They're probably used to doing it at school whilst they're at school. So again, it makes sense to also check on those kids, because it's easy for you to tell them to go off and find something to do and don't distract you, but you need to monitor them, because if they are using the home Wi-Fi network and their system is being compromised, then that will also affect you as a worker using that router or that Wi-Fi system as well. So that's a dual tip for both parents and for children, to be aware of the websites and be aware of the potential issues around phishing and fake sites that they may visit. I think that's all we've got for today. I think we're going to close off there, and you've been watching TalkINFOSEC with Cheila DosSantos and Clinton Walker. Anything from you to kind of close off, Cheila?
No, I just want to say I absolutely love that we are able to have these conversations and actually have a platform now to share it with people and give them hopefully those 20 minutes away from their day jobs and learn something new. So thanks again for having me, Clinton.
No problem. Thank you. We'll do this again next time, and we'll also probably be promoting some weekly news roundup as well. So news from around the world. So keep watching, subscribe, and keep on following us. And the website is talkinfosec.com. Thank you.
Thank you.